Hey everyone, it's Average Gatsby, and welcome to another issue of Engineering the Asylum, my guide to the engineer class. This is going to be the third and final part of Archangel's mission, and as you can see right here, I'm trying to close the last shutter, and you might have seen a little bit of this footage before. I just want to pick it up right here. I'd have to say that this section, like I said in the last video, is probably the trickiest for me. It's a little bit easier for the engineer because you can lay down the combat drone, but that only takes care of one target, and a lot of times there's 2 or 3 blood packs sitting in this first section. I'm really wishing that I had the area incinerated at this point, because that would have been really helpful on these units. I also want to say right here that it probably would have been a lot smarter for me tactically if I had used the combat drone on the blood pack warrior. Kind of lucked out right there in that he didn't keep charging me. Most of the time, a Krogan is just on a path to close the gap between you as much as possible, and then eventually do his run tactic and just slam into Shepard and finish her off. So I see that there's no enemies coming or anything, so even though there's a pyro, I know he's not going to make it in time. So I just start walking over here, even though I know that the level will just end. In this video, I wanted to touch on briefly, because it definitely comes into play in this section right here, the different types of enemies. First of all, I'm pausing right here because I'm just getting a feel for the battlefield. I know that the Variant's going to come charging at me, and the 2 Krogan are going to run up the stairs, and the 2 Vorcha are going to take position behind a box over on the left side of where I'm in cover slightly. I guess it would be straight ahead of me. And notice how, Incinerate actually hits both of them, but unfortunately the Blood Pack Trooper is able to regenerate his armor. But the Incinerate instantly kills him. So I pick up the ammo that's regenerated there from before and run up to the top. And right here you'll see, sometimes combat drone doesn't always work how you planned. I have the drone attacking him, but it's not doing anything. It's the Blood Pack Warrior is on a Krogan Blood Rage, and there's nothing I can do, so I have to retreat back. Fortunately, Krogan are quite slow, and I think that the drone was slightly doing a slight stun effect, and so that helped me out. So I closed the gap, melee him off the bridge, and it would have been cool if he just fell down and shattered, but he ends up surviving, so I have to come around the corner and continue to attack him. Notice how my Incinerate did very little damage and no crowd control. The cryo definitely would have been superior in that section. And because there's not really too much strategy when it comes to Garm, just casting your drone and then taking down the barrier with your machine pistol, I wanted to talk about the different types of enemies and in the game, and just as an engineer, how to deal, not necessarily deal with them, but how to prioritize your targets. So the way I see it, there's actually about 5 different types of enemies. There's first of all your light basic troopers. These enemies are your any enemy that says trooper after it usually falls in this category, and they're enemies that, for one, their barrier or armor or shield is usually able to be taken out in a single ability, or only a few quick bursts of your submachine gun or whatever weapon you use fire. There's lots of these enemies, and the way that their AI works is they tend to try to create a shooting gallery and not necessarily get up in your face, unless they're equipped with a shotgun. Occasionally, Blue Sun's troopers, Turians, will have a shotgun and try to get in your face. The next type I would call medium enemies, and these would be your Blue Suns, Centurions, and Legionnaires. They would be for the collectors, either the Assassin or the Guardian. For Blood Pack, I somewhat consider the Pyro to be in this category, and these are enemies that they either have a sort of special ability like the Collector Guardian or Assassin, or they, like the Legionnaire and Centurion, they try to close the gap with you and get in your face as much as possible. Their main distinctive feature is that they are not killed by, or their barriers or armor or shield are not destroyed instantly by an ability. It usually takes 2 or more by any ability to take it out. It just makes them, that much stronger, and it's just something to be aware of. They're often equipped with a slightly more powerful weapon than your normal Blue Suns Trooper or anything like that. The third enemy I would categorize would be heavy mercs, and you don't really see too many of these, but I would consider Gentha in the back there one of them. They oftentimes have a special type of weapon, and they have 2 layers of protection before you get to their health. You only are going to see a few of them in the game, and they're mostly Blue Suns. Occasionally you have Eclipse. Specifically the Asari Commandos would fall into this category. But they're just basically a more powerful version of the medium, in that they have another extra layer of protection before you can finally target their health. And then finally, well, for the fourth category, I would call basically I would put Krogan and Varen in the category of the aggressive heavy. These units are, well, first of all, their pathing is always on a direct course to Shepard, so they take whatever path there is to hit Shepard first. These enemies are also totally unaffected by light crowd control effects of fire, and so you need a heavy crowd control method to take them out. They're also not always affected by the combat drone, especially in the case of Baron. My main recommendation for dealing with them would be trying to get them down to health as soon as possible, and then always using a cryo on them instead of trying to just use Incinerate, as far as the case for the Engineer. The last category, I have Emir mechs, basically just in a separate category. They're like a boss character. They're super heavy. I don't feel like I need to talk about them too much, but because they're not a true boss, I felt that they should be categorized in the in that section. Geth Primes would also fall under the same category. Geth Primes are kind of a mix between the two, between an Emir mech and a Krogan. So anyway, let me talk about this section. I'm trying to keep them on the staircase as much as possible. Or I was. I'm about to finish them all off right here. But that staircase is just an excellent place for you and your squad mates to take up a position and just sort of keep leading them up the stairs. You'll notice that every time I shot a cryo, it would freeze the enemy, and the enemy would come back, rolling back down the stairs. One reason I like shooting at that staircase is because the enemy will not be, there's a significant distance that they have to move before they will stop and take cover. They're never going to stop and take cover while in the middle of that staircase. So, right here for this boss, I'm going to pull up my heavy weapon, use my Incinerates and Warps. I rarely use heavy weapons, but right here I feel it's totally appropriate. First of all, because you can kill it very easily with only a few grenade launcher rounds, and secondly, because there's no reason to fight more Blue Suns mechs if you can avoid it. Anyway, I'm Average Gatsby. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Give me any feedback you like. I'm still soliciting names for my drone. I'll have a name for it by the time we get to Horizon. But anyway, have a good day.